and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John. Thank you very much for joining me for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. This week I've come to Liverpool, where we'll be taking a look at Liverpool's outer ring road, better known as the M57 motorway. Despite being named a ring road, it isn't one. Liverpool sits on the coast, making a ring road not really possible, but back when they were planning it all in 1965, I'm sure this wasn't a consideration when it came to naming it. The original plan and route for the M57 would have seen it start on the southeast side of Liverpool at the A562. It would have then run for 15 miles, where it would have linked up with the A565 on the north side of Liverpool. Along the way, it would link up with the various main roads that would take traffic in and out of Liverpool, and as we can see, it's probably more of a bypass than a ring road. As is often the case with our motorways, what was originally planned and then later delivered differed somewhat. Today, the M57 is only 10 miles long, and it starts at the Tarbog roundabout a couple of miles north from where they'd originally planned. It then follows the route as intended, linking all of those major roads, but stops short at Switch Island. So what happened? Why are bits of the M57 missing? Like a lot of motorways, the M57 was built in sections, with the first being completed in 1972, and that ran from junctions 4 to 7. It was considered more important to open this section first due to the expanding industry in the area. Fair enough. And it would be 1974 that the second section was completed that ran from junctions 1 to 4. Job then. But no, it seems that they just didn't build a couple of miles of motorway at either end of the M57, and I can't really find any official explanation as to why that was. I can only imagine it's because they planned to extend the motorway at a later date, which in the 90s they sort of did. Junction 1 of the M57 was extended down to meet the A562, completing the route as per the original plan. But the council obviously didn't want to spend a lot of money, not that it mattered, because in the 90s motorways were bad. Okay. So they opted to build an expressway, which is basically a motorway without hard shoulders. They're a lot easier and cheaper to build than motorways, but to be honest, I don't know why they didn't just put a motorway in the first place. There were other changes made to Junction 1, where in 2008 the junction was upgraded. I say upgraded, that might be a bit much. The junction was changed from its simple roundabout design to a more complicated layout, with free-flowing slip roads added between the M57 and the M62. They also added a loop, as well as rearranging the existing slip roads to suit the new junction's design. If you have a look on the southwest side of the Tarbog roundabout, you might spot a small stretch of abandoned road. This actually used to be one of the slip roads before the junction was redesigned. A short distance up from Junction 1, and the M57 cuts through Stadmore's Park, where we find Tushingham's Lake and a pathway that takes you under the M57. The pathway looks to be the leftovers of an old railway, and indeed, if we were to nip back to the 1800s, this entire area would have been littered with industries, from brickworks to quarries to coal mines, all linked via this railway. One such coal mine was Halsned or Halsnede coal mine. I don't know, it opened in 1802. Today, there's nothing to be seen of the old coal mine, so I've wasted your time there. Instead, there's a new housing estate, and Tushingham's Lake behind me was created following the closure of the mine. Junction 3 is more of a spur road connection than, say, an actual junction, and it was never part of the original M57 plan. It was added in 1985 following the expansion of housing in the area, and at the same time they built the A562 or Sethpal Way. What's interesting here is that if you take a look at the A562 on satellite images, we can clearly see where space has been left for a larger road or a motorway to be added at a later date. A date that I suspect will never come. The 1980s was perhaps the golden era for TV soap dramas, and Channel 4's offering was called Brookside. This soap drama was based in Liverpool, and by the mid-1980s had grown into Channel 4's most highly rated show, attracting up to 8 million viewers. The programme ran for a total of 21 series before coming to an end in 2003, when the viewer numbers dropped and the studios could no longer justify the £16 million a year it cost to make the show. What was unique about the production of Brookside was that rather than use a purpose-built film set, they used real houses on a real cul-de-sac right here, a few miles from Junction 3 of the M57. The production crew saw fit to purchase 13 houses, with 6 of them doing the on-screen work and the other houses being used for storage, facilities and offices. When the show ended in 2003, the film set comprising of the 13 houses was left abandoned before finally being sold at auction in 2008 for £735,000. All of the houses were restored to a livable standard, and by 2011, new residents moved into their new homes. But it still looks exactly the same as Brookside. Junction 4 is interesting. You've got a standard roundabout style junction for the M57, but the A580 makes it all a bit of a mess with its free-flowing slip roads. It's also where we find the hidden Junction 5. When on the M57, the only mention from road signs of Junction 5 is when you're heading south and joining the A580 via one of its slip roads. So I suppose that makes Junction 5 this bit of slip road here. Just next to Junction 5 is a small bridge, and when looking at satellite images, I couldn't help but notice it's got rails on it. Ooh, railway. But no, I couldn't find any record of a railway being here at all. To be honest, it had me stumped for quite a while. I couldn't work out what this bit of railway or track would have been for. I discovered that it's a leftover from the Liverpool Corporation Tramway. So it's a tramway, not a railway. The Liverpool Corporation Tramway was a 90-mile network of tramways that opened in 1898, offering a fully electrified tram service across Liverpool and its suburbs. And after only 3 years of operation, they'd carried in excess of 100 million passengers. A great success then, but it wasn't to last. The services were wound down or closed, and the last tram ran in 1957, although the section here by Junction 5 probably closed quite a bit earlier than that. Junction 6 exists, and up at Junction 7 is where we find the end of the M57, and a very stupid junction design indeed. Before the motorways came along, it was a very simple T-junction between the A59 and the A576. This was later extended and made larger to accommodate the M57, and not long after the M58 was added, giving us this junction design. I don't even know what this is. Junction 7 is also known as Switch Island, and on the approach to Switch Island you might notice there's some sort of extra carriageway that's been built in preparation for building more M57. You'll recall earlier we discussed that the original plan for the M57 was for it to continue up and join the A565. The idea was that the motorway would continue over Junction 7 on a flyover bridge. This of course wasn't built, and instead the M57 just ends at Junction 7. As mentioned, it's a bit of a mess of a junction with several busy roads and another motorway all converging into one point. Things would change again in 2015 with the addition of the A5758. This was bolted onto the already busy junction and runs up to the A565 as per the original plan for the M57, but without the nice flyover at Junction 7. What this means is that the M57 was almost completed as per the original plan, but instead they bolted on a couple of additional roads at either end, because it's cheap. And there we are then guys, that's all we've got time for this week. I hope you liked the video. If you did, there's a button specifically for that, and if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. That would be wicked sweet awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you get up to. My name's John, you've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you guys next time for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Until then, take care, bye bye.